Let's continue then on this particular topic. Let's bring in political analyst Dr Levy Ndou to weigh in on the 9th ANC Provincial Elective Conference in the Eastern Cape. A very good afternoon to you, Dr Ndou. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the viewers at home.
I imagine, of course, Dr Ndou, that you've been following the developments of the Eastern Cape conference quite closely since it got underway. Take us through some of the key elements and what particularly stood out for you coming out of this conference. No doubt, at the end of it all, the fact that it was a clean sweep, or seems like a clean sweep, really, for the Mabuyane slate. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think this is one of the difficult conferences that the ANC ever had. This conference was postponed on a number of occasions because there were disputes that were taking place regarding the delegation and the actual organization of the conference. Once the conference was on, you had another grouping of the ANC taking the conference to court on matters relating to credentials. Another area is that the conference had to take almost 3 days before they could adopt credentials. But what actually stood out for me is the fact that they were able to deal with all the challenges that they had, and at the end of the day, the conference became successful. There are areas that I'm quite worried about relating to this conference. What worries me, and indeed what should be a worrying factor to the ANC, is that the delegates of the ANC would find it difficult to find each other and resolve organizational matters as fast as they could. When members of the same party find it difficult to resolve these kind of issues and they are not able to find one another like it happened in the Eastern Cape, it has, in my view, the potential to create groupings and divisions which lead up to factionalism within the party. And I think through the ANC conference in the Eastern Cape, the ANC leadership and the ANC in general should have learned that they should try to do things quite differently, because the manner in which things have been unfolding in the Eastern Cape would leave much to be desired.
Yeah, you talk about the creation of groupings as a possibility, and also as we started our conversation, you were saying that this was one of the most difficult conferences for the ANC. I mean, do you see those who were unsuccessful this time around in the Eastern Cape, and I'll mention Babalo Badikizela as well as Andile Lungisa, being silent or quiet in that defeat, or do you see some sort of contestation going forward? I mean, how do you see this play out? And I mean, you do talk about the fact that this may then create further factionalism and further groupings. I mean, do you see this ending here as where it is right now?
I don't see that ending there, and I will tell you why.
Yeah,
there was an attempt to have a negotiation amongst the three contenders for the leadership position in the Eastern Cape. And of course, that could not happen because you could then observe that there is a grouping on the other side and the other group on the other side which were not prepared to meet, have an agreement, or in some form compromise on their positions. And that for me says to me that it appears as if they could not be able to find one another, only to resolve matters of positions within the party. And of course, unless those that have not won would be matured enough and say, let us go back and support the elected leadership, it creates a situation where there are winners and losers. And it has also become evident with the Eastern Cape Conference that there is a slate that has not made it and a slate that has won. And I think that one of the biggest tasks that is facing the current leadership is to start by ensuring that they bring together the other group that has actually not won, and make sure that they continue working together with this grouping, because if there are challenges within the party, obviously the ANC cannot then be able to go and canvass voters out there if they themselves are not united inside the party.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about the importance then, of the Eastern Cape in general, the ANC. I mean, it's been a stronghold of the party, of course, for a long time, but, so has KZN, for example. How important is the Eastern Cape, and, of course, for the president to see, one would say, his people, being victorious, as we sort of see now in this instance?
The Eastern Cape is very important in the politics of the ANC. Firstly, because the Eastern Cape has observed tremendous growth of the ANC. The Eastern Cape has, for some time, been very influential in the policy discussions of the ANC. And being one of the biggest provinces and being influential in terms of policy discussions, one would still expect the Eastern Cape to be one that should make a huge contribution in the policy conference and, of course, at the national conference. The Eastern Cape, for me, has also done very well when it comes to local government elections. And now the leadership is not quite happy with their own performance. But if you look at the Eastern Cape's performance, and some few other provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, you'll say the Eastern Cape has actually performed very well. But I think what the Eastern Cape now has to offer is that they are fortunate that the current chairperson of the ANC has been there. It will just be a continuity on his part. He must then galvanize all the foot soldiers or all his comrades in ensuring that they focus now on providing the services that are actually needed by the people of the Eastern Cape, and also at the same time play a crucial role in influencing the policy direction of the ANC.
All right, Dr. Ndou, thank you so very much for speaking to us. And no doubt we'll carry on conversations with you around the goings-on in the ANC. Thank you, sir.